You get KW socks.
Oh.
Those are so comfy.
KW socks?
I didn't think they would be, and I'm a. Those are awesome. They're great, aren't they? All right, let's do this. I'm gonna turn the video around so everybody can see everybody. Hi, everybody at home. All right. Thank you guys for being here, being on time. And for being patient as we do the whole hybrid thing this morning, this afternoon, as we get started. Y'all are gonna have materials today. I'm gonna share my screen in a second so you guys at home can see it. Do me a favor, those of you who are watching remotely, take yourself off mute to ask questions. If there's something that you feel like you really only want to put in the chat, bear with us. My partner Sheeden is on. Can you say hi, Sheeden?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Oh, hold on. I gotta put, yep. There we go. Say hi again, Sheeden.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Oh, we have music going too. Let me do away with that. Sheeden's going to be monitoring the chat for us a little bit today, just so that we don't miss anything. But if it's like live commentary, if you have an actual question, if you need to get my attention for any reason, just pull yourself off mute, pretend you're here in the classroom, just say, you know, excuse me, or just start talking. Do all the stuff. Let's see. Chances are really good now that I'm looking at materials. Oh, maybe I have just enough. Just enough today. Sheeden, I'm gonna go ahead and make you a co-host with me. If you'll monitor the waiting room also, pretty please.
Yep. Sure.
Just let anybody in. I'm going to let Adrian in really quick, but if you let anybody else in, if they happen to go in and pop back out or anything like that, if you can monitor that. We're going to dive in today. We are going to talk about prospecting and marketing. Okay. This is a kind of a high level overview today of how prospecting and marketing work together inside of your business, how to have a balance of both, what the heck they both are, right? Next week, we are going to start the deeper dive into both of these subjects. So today's kind of a high level, but we're going to start with our daily habits. So I'm going to rearrange the screen. Is there anyone who wasn't here yesterday who needs a moment to just give us the who am I, what's my real estate tenure look like, and why am I here?
I suppose I wasn't here for that yesterday.
Go for it. Well, I'm getting this together. Why don't you share a little bit about yourself,
In case
sir?
there's anybody who doesn't know who I am, my name is Ricky Harris. I've been licensed this is my 10th year. I've been here for 9 of those 10 years. I've been the productivity coach. I spent about 3 years in that role. I had the pleasure of being a team leader for 6 months at Anna's job before I realized I was the wrong person for that job. So I've been around Keller a while. I understand Keller culture and what it means to be Keller, and I'll never be anywhere else.
And we're recording, just
Oh, wow.
so.
Now
In case I never ever need to pull that out. And
okay, someone's like, who's that guy? Oh, it's recording. I know what that is. I love what I do. I love just buying and selling homes. I love supporting other agents. I love answering questions, helping new agents understand all of the things that I didn't know when I started. I'm here because 3612.3 is a much deeper version of Ignite, I think. And our market is shifting as we speak. When we get out of here at 3-ish o'clock, it'll be a different market than it was the one when we started. And 3612.3 by design is to help agents understand at a deeper level what they need to do with their business and is shifting market. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Echoed by several of the other experienced agents who were in the room yesterday, right? Like this is different. We're starting to feel it. And so let's dive in. Folks at home, can you see the screen that says materials? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you for the thumbs up there. Sheldon, if you will put the link to the materials in the chat, that I would appreciate that. Those of you who are in the room, you can scan this or you can hop into the material folder so that you can capture all of these things as well. Inside of the material folder, I'm actually going to show you what you're getting so that you know what to look for. Here it is. Okay. Those at home, what are you seeing? Are you still seeing the presentation or are you seeing a Google Drive?
The Google Drive.
Awesome. Thanks, Sheena. Okay. So this is what you're getting. This folder will grow every session. We'll add the materials for the upcoming sessions to it. So you're getting all of the materials here. Introductory session was the session that we did yesterday. Today we are doing marketing and prospecting. So if you want to open up marketing and prospecting, you totally can. And then you've got this spreadsheet in here, which we're going to take a look at too. Those of you in the room, this is a big honkin' section today. So it won't staple because it's too big. So we get a fancy binder clip. You know, maybe some right. So marketing and prospecting. This seems like a huge session. It really is going to move fast because it's just a lot of high level overview. You can then dive back into this material for some details if you need it. Okay. So those are that's what's in that file. So you'll have access to that all of the time. It'll be updated as we go. Ground rules. Arrive on time as often as you can. I think that's me making that noise somehow. Arrive on time, be fully present. If you're in the Zoom, please, if you're in a place that allows it, turn on your camera, unmute yourself, participate with the conversation in the room. If you're live in the room, please turn on your camera, unmute yourself, participate with the conversation here in the room, right? Respect the rest of the group as well. Here's something that we didn't really talk about yesterday, but I'm going to bring it up. Respect confidentiality. Inside of this room, both virtual and in person, this is a really safe space, right? We are not all like knocking this out of the park. Like batting 100. Is that the thing? I don't know. I don't do sport metaphors.
If you're hitting on all cylinders, you'd be batting 1,000.
You'd be batting 1,000. Love it. Great. Thanks, Ricky.
Sure.
We are not all doing that.
We are not.
Right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the room, right? So here's the deal. We're going to share some things. We're going to have some questions. We are going to we may be having like maybe even a client issue that comes up in conversation here. Maybe it's a personal issue, maybe it's a blah, blah, blah. To maintain this safe space, we're just going to treat all of those conversations that we're having in the room with each other as confidential. Okay, so we're not taking them outside of the room in any way, shape or form. We're going to continue to respect each other and to all get the most we can out of this experience. So why are we here, right? To avoid that real estate roller coaster. For some of us, it's to get that real estate roller coaster started, right? We need to climb up the darn hill so that we can start doing the fun stuff. So that's why we're here. Market's different. Here's the reality of that statement, though. I could literally say that every day for the rest of my life, and it would be true. The market today is nothing like the market yesterday, and it's nothing like the market tomorrow. The market is almost a living being. It is evolving all of the time. Even though there may be some similarities, there's going to be some foundational principles that'll work regardless of what market you're in. What worked yesterday will not necessarily work tomorrow, right? We have to make sure that we're always moving and evolving with it. Where are we? We are not paying attention to the pictures, remember, because we have amended this quite a bit. We've done power session 1, which is the power of one. We took care of that yesterday. We got started, we laid our foundation. Tuesday, we dove into effort versus skill. Next week, remember, we're going to be sprinkling some MOFRs inside of our conversation. Anyone remember what MOFR stands for?
Make offer for immediate response.
Yes. Yes, here, have a cozy.
Oh, I've been.
Whoa,
I
okay,
was actually
don't throw things anymore, Hannah.
I was pretty stoked, Anna. That-
Holy
Wow.
cow, that was terrifying. For those of you who weren't in the room.
Suddenly I was very happy. I had no idea what a gopher is. Sheesh.
Woo. Well, good news, bad news, everybody's gonna know next week, okay.
I'd say nothing.
All right, hey, today we're talking about marketing and prospecting. Next week, we are going to launch leveraging a powerful contact database. Let's see if we're working here. All right. We skipped a whole page. Oh, I just have them out of order, that's all, okay. So power session 5, where once we start talking about our database, we're also going to go into touch plans. We're going to talk about events. And then we are going to finish off next week with agent to agent referrals, right? This is, consider that like bonus content of 3612. That is a big deal. And it's going to be, it's going to be a cool opportunity for you guys. We are then going to really put on our prospecting hats, and we are going to take a deep dive into open houses, and farming and door knocking. Yeah, those slides are all messed up. Somewhere in there should also be, oh, I just skipped it, telephone prospecting. We're gonna talk about telephone prospecting, open houses, yeah, farming and door knocking. And then we're going to wrap up the last week talking about our social presence. We're going to talk about, yeah.
On agent referrals,
Uh-huh.
I've been paid in Virginia, Ohio, Florida, and I have one pending in the Dominican Republic. We call it free money on my team.
Mhm.
Instead of bonus content, it's just free.
It's
money.
free money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I tell you what,
Don't miss that one.
it's one of the frees in this class, right? It's an awesome opportunity. We simply just don't take advantage of it enough. And like, seriously, it's a big deal. Yeah, we're gonna dive into social media, both paid and organic reach. We're gonna look at some video, like not watch like, game video, but we're gonna talk about video in your business. We are then going to dive into internet leads, internet lead conversion, what are internet leads, all of those pieces. We're going to finish 3612.3, nurturing and following up with our database. Okay. So that's what we're in for. Yesterday we talked about our daily success habits. And so these are the 4 habits that we're looking at growing every single day. So we are going to know our numbers. We're going to lead generate for 3 hours. We're going to track our numbers, and we're going to develop our skills every single day. And so we are going to know our numbers really quickly at the beginning of every class. We are going to look at MLS stats. We're going to have conversations around them. We're going to see what there is to see. We're going to take a look at what's happening in the multiple listing service. This is something that you can literally do every day or a few days a week for the entirety of your career.
right? It's not just a right now because we're trying to figure out what's going on with the market. No, always do this. It will give you something to talk about all the time. So let's start with that. So, here we go. Okay. If you are following along, you can follow along one of two ways. If you are in the room and want one of the paper trackers that we used the other day, they're up here. If you want to hop on your computer and follow along on the spreadsheet, you can, or if you just want to watch, you can also. So in the spreadsheet that's shared in our resources, there's an MLS, a market stats tracker. Okay, so you will find when you get into this that there's already a couple of numbers on there, because knowing what's happening in the market today doesn't mean anything, because there's nothing to compare it to, no basis of comparison. I'd love to have this conversation. My sister and her husband own a skating rink. And my sister loves to tell me things like, oh, we made X amount of revenue. I don't care. I have no idea what that means in your business. I don't know what it costs to operate a skating rink. I don't know what your profit margins are. I have no idea if that's what a good skating rink makes in revenue or what a bad skating rink makes in revenue. I don't know if that's a good year or a COVID year. I have zero basis of comparison, right? No flipping idea. So if we just look at today's market stats, we might as well be looking at the revenue of a skating rink. We have no idea what it means because we have nothing to compare it to. So I've given you just a couple of comparisons from the beginning of the year. I track this pretty regularly in going through my notes pretty regularly every month, except for April, because I was out of the office like most of the month and I fell off of some of my business activities. So I don't have an April stat for you up there, but I do have January, February, and March. So you can see what are some of those numbers each of those months. And we're going to go through and we are going to, starting today, 5/5/2022, which is a Thursday, we are going to put in the numbers. I always put the day of the week on there because I want to compare apples to apples, right? If I'm comparing a Friday to a Wednesday, I'm going to see very different things. I might think something's happening in the market that's not, because a lot of listings go active on Fridays and not as many go active on Wednesday. So while I'm looking at market trends, I can look big picture. But you'll notice that that's why I picked a Wednesday at the beginning of each of those months, so that you could compare apples to apples, because there is kind of a system to our a cycle in our business. And when you start tracking these statistics regularly, you'll see that. And so what I'm going to do, if this all cooperates here, is we are going to pull up the none of my bookmarks are here, which is really weird, but that's okay. We're going to pull up RE Colorado and we're going to log in. Oh, I remember my password.
If that happened to me, I'd be like, oh, crap. Where's my number?
I was really angry with RE Colorado the day that I had to make that password, because like they forced us to change it. So it is the only password that uses that password. And I'll tell you guys what it is. I was pissed off because it had to be 7 letters. So the password is literally 7 letters,
Nice.
like written out.
I hate my job one. Right?
Kind of something like that, yeah. Yeah, so and I just never, it's stuck somehow. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pull up RE Colorado. We're gonna fill in these blanks. I'm gonna share with you what happens inside of my head. The last box I fill in is active listings, just because that's my system, but I put it first because I think that's one of the most important numbers. Okay, so I'm actually going to skip active listings and we're going to come back and fill that one in. But so I'm going to go into Matrix.
I'm sure there's a video that shows you how to do this thing, which is setting up your market watch, right? I've got mine set up. We're not going to do that here, but know that on your homepage, you have a market watch, which will show you whatever you want to see. You can customize it. I have mine set at residential 7 days. I think I have it customized ever so slightly. So I'm just seeing things in RE Colorado. I think you set that up however you see fit, just don't change it. Okay, if you're tracking a number, track the same damn number all the time or the same set of numbers, right? Doesn't matter what it is, just don't change it. So I have all of my lovely numbers here. I'm gonna go back. Maybe I'm gonna go back and do the whole half screen thing. There we go, and then you'll go on the other half, okay. And so let me squeeze over so you guys can see it. And I'm just gonna take those numbers and they're in order and I'm just gonna transpose them in. So I've got 1,674 new listings. I have got 253 coming soon listings. 209 are back on the market. 235 have a price increase. 605 have a price decrease.
Yes.
Yeah, that is the sales section of the MLS. That is like, that is a hot spot right now. 1,897 are pending. We have 98 which are withdrawn. Withdrawn means that they are no longer active on the market, but they still have a realtor relationship, so you cannot prospect to withdrawals. Closed. You'll notice I skipped leased. We don't show leased on the MLS. It's always at 0. So I just skipped that column. 1,807 closed and expired 124. That's a pretty good number too. Okay. And then I'm going to go all the way back and I have this whole unactive listing. So the way that I get there, go back into the MLS here. I go into my search and I'm going to do just a residential search. I have active selected. I just deselect all of the other MLSs that duplicate entries. That's it. I don't change anything else. I scroll down to the bottom and it tells me how many matches. One of these days we'll probably get over 5,000 and I'll show you what to do then. But for the time being, we have 4,122. So I'm going to go back to, come on. You want to do the corner thing. I know you do. Whatever. 4122. That's the number. 4122. Now we can bring this guy back up. What can we tell about this today versus what's happened in the past? Well, we have twice as many listings on the market, active, searchable, shoppable on the market right now than we had the first 3 months of the year at any given point. Okay, inventory is growing. What does that mean? I don't know. Lots of things. Spring, that's the biggest thing it means, right? Could it mean other things? Potentially. And as we track this month, we're going to keep an eye on that number. What's happening with inventory? New listings. Like 4 times as many new listings in the past 7 days as there was in any given week in like January or February. Hot dog. Well, that could be why inventory is piling up, right? We've twice as much inventory, but 4 times as many listings going on the market, right? So our home's still selling, right? Yes, right? And a lot of new listings going on the market. Coming soon. Coming soon's pretty average for midweek. Okay, pretty average for midweek. There's not really a good story to tell there. Back on the market. Look at that. Twice as many properties back on the market right now as there were the first 3 months of the year. Twice as many. What does that mean? I don't know. Maybe it's a conversation I'm having with my sellers about the likelihood of their, of their property falling out once it's gone under, right? Maybe it's a conversation with my buyers about, hey, you might have missed it right now, but you might have a second chance, right? It's all about conversations. Price increases. I don't know. There are 235 pretty stupid realtors right now, I think. That's the way.
34, one really smart one.
price,
And it's also indicative of twice as many listings, so
yeah.
that many.
That many new listings.
necessarily-
Yeah, a price increase could be a lot of things, right? A lot of times it's new home construction
Yeah.
that is getting adjusted because of the market. So that number's actually pretty right in line with what we've been seeing. Every once in a great while, it's a realtor who thinks, oh, we just had an appraisal on this property, it appraised over list price, and we somehow went back on the market. So I'm actually going to increase that price to that appraised value, right? Every now and again, it's one of those weird things.
Typo.
Yeah, so there are some things that lead to it. It's not a really significant number, but this one is. Price decreases. That's my favorite. At all of those opportunities, 605 opportunities for me to find a hot deal. Man, what are those sellers feeling right now?
Like they just want an offer, just bring it.
Just bring it. I don't even care what it is. Yeah,
They're-
let's go to the table and have a conversation about this. Yeah. Pendings. 1,900 homes right now are under contract in the under contract phase. So our homes selling, at a really good clip, right? Activity has picked up. This is really typical of a spring market. This is what happens in April, May, June, right? And here in the Denver metro area, this is common. This is what we see. We're going to track this throughout the month to see if there's changes to this. Okay. Withdrawals. That number doesn't really look abnormal, compared to the other numbers that we've seen. These are people who, for whatever reason, just aren't going to sell their house today, right? They still have a relationship with an agent, but they pulled it off the market. Closed. This number will probably peak in June. That is typically the highest that we see. It's like the end of June, beginning of July. That closed number, it hits its peak for the year in the last 7 days. So will we see the same thing this year? I don't know. We're going to keep an eye on it. Let's see what happens this month. Knowing that pendings is still pretty strong, we'll probably see a pretty strong closed number. Expireds. I don't know that that's like, crazy. 124, it's not very many, right? But look at those 605 price decreases. Oh man, all of them may become expired soon, right? So something to keep an eye on. So we're going to start in a probably much more condensed version. Each session we'll go through market stats. We're going to look for them. We're going to tell some stories so that we know our numbers. All right. What'd you guys learn? Did you see anything surprising in them? Let me pull it back up. Anyone at home, go ahead and unmute. Sharon.
The increase in, the numbers show the increase in listings is something that we're feeling in the marketplace. Felt it for about 10 days now, I think, right? Starting right around April 25th. And these numbers tell that story, right? The other thing that I track is days on market. And from April 25th to May 2nd, days on market increased 1 day. That's a much bigger shift than you might think. Right? So I think this is demonstrative of market shifting. And definitely demonstrative on how hard it is to track the numbers. Because it changes conversations that you have with clients, whether they're sellers or buyers.
If you just looked at those numbers today, you don't have any stories to tell, right? Yeah. Or you might tell the wrong story, like, oh my gosh, there's only 4,000 homes on the market. The sky is falling. Instead of, oh my gosh, it's like Christmas. We can actually go show multiple properties this afternoon, like 3 or 4 of them, and you might have a chance to like win all of them, right?
I think some of those sellers are kicking themselves that they didn't list a couple months earlier.
Yeah.
because price, yeah, all the price decreases, they were ambitious maybe. And then now that there's a lot more new listings, they're having to bring their prices down.
Mhm. You know, and if I were talking to a seller right now, and we were looking at pricing strategy, right? There's definitely going to be the seller who's like, you know what, the neighbor's home sold for, you know, 740. And I think we'll get 775 for mine. Let's list at 790. Right? Because that's how the market's been moving. We're pricing ahead of the market, so we're pricing a little higher. Right? That's going to backfire on us, and we can show them how that's backfiring. Guess what those price decreases are?
The
Those are
market
people who
looked
are
like
way up
their
there.
neighbor.
Yeah.
The market,
Just
Yeah.
last month, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but you've got to have data.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing you could do with this is, I mean, you're pulling the MLS. Pull county, you can pull city, you can pull community, but community is gonna be very skewed because it's too small of a data set.
Mm-hmm.
Even city is gonna be a small data set for these kind of numbers. But if you did it for county, then you're going to be able to see that not all of the places in Denver are reacting the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. County or price band. Right? This story looks really different in the 400 to 500 range as it does in the 800 to 900 range, right? Two different stories going on right now. Yet generally, overall speaking, this is like the baseline habit. If you know these numbers, you have a big picture of idea of what's going on in the marketplace. Is it you can set up your, you know, quick data thing on your home screen, so it pulls whatever numbers you want. If you're focused on a particular county or city or price band or whatever it is, you can have that be one of your default views. And there's some great videos on the MLS there that show you how to make that happen. If you need a video, it's pretty intuitive, like you'll be able to figure it out. So you can look at whatever you want to. Here's what I would say though, pick what you're going to look at and look at it every day. That's why I've made mine just as broad as it can be, because I'm just looking at the whole market overall, what's it doing? And then on a specific instance, if you want to go smaller, you absolutely can, right? If you know you've got a listing coming up in Castle Rock or Kent Carl or something like that, go a little smaller to that and start watching the trends in that particular area, right? So that you can see what's happening. And then you can kind of compare what's happening to the general market as well. Cool. What else? Anything else on this before we move on? Okay. So we're tracking our numbers. 3 hours of lead gen. So prepare today for tomorrow's lead generation. That's one of the habits inside of this. Some of the things that are coming up soon, we are hosting kind of a guided lead generation sessions in the Market Center 4 days a week, Monday through Fridays, Tuesday through Fridays, not on Mondays. Tuesday through Fridays from 9:30 to 11. On Monday, we highly recommend that you are self-guided in your lead gen. You follow up from whatever activities you did over the weekend, all of those things. Some of the things we're working on right now, shredder events. We did that this morning, had a lot of fun preparing to attract people to that event. Red Day, we'll be doing some circle dialing. We've got quarterly call plans coming up next week. Will be follow-up Fridays. And like I said, we do have a calendar of these events. It is now in, it's in your spreadsheet. Here we go, lead gen calendar. So you can see it here. Thank you, Sheedon, for taking all of my chicken scratch and making it legible. I'm doing the wrong thing. So we've got our lead gen calendar, so you'll know what to expect. Some of the days are still kind of open because we're figuring that out, or we're going to be doing 2 things. So here's where we're at this week. We're doing like Red Day, shredder event. We'll be doing the same thing next week as we launch. Amy's going to be working with y'all on
doing quarterly call plan and going through that next week. Then we have Red Day, Thursday, the 12th. The office is closed for real estate activities on that day. We are serving with There With Care on Thursday for Red Day. Have a follow-up Friday, then we dive into self-guided lead gen, agent to agent referrals. When we get back on Tuesday, the 17th, that's going to be, Friday, we do the agent referrals class. Tuesday, we're going to be actually lead generating for them. We'll be preparing for our open house starting on Wednesday. We have 3 different preparation sessions. The first is actually planning and preparing for your open house. The second is telephone prospecting for your open house. The third is door knocking for your open house. So that week is really all geared towards the open house that you'll be holding on either the 21st or the 22nd. Mark your calendars now if you want to, for an open house one of those days. Hey, Adrian, you're going to be in town. You
I just took a bite of food.
Oh,
I am gonna be in town.
awesome. Awesome. What a great way to get your team involved on the 21st or 22nd. Joining us that week for those lead gen activities. And then the following week, we are diving into social media and video. We're going to be working with some internet leads, and we're going to be doing some lead follow-up as well. So we've got a full month of guided lead gen planned. Obviously, you can lead gen however you want to. If this isn't your plan, go for it. But if you don't have a plan, come in and use ours. The goals for lead generation, just a reminder. The first goal, the highest priority goal, obviously, is to get an appointment for business, right? If you can actually get business while lead generating, that is an absolute bonus, yet it is the exception to the rule that you are going to make a phone call and someone is going to say, yes, I hire you to do the real estate thing I've been thinking about doing, right? What's more likely going to happen is, yes, I will entertain the idea of working with you for this real estate thing that I am thinking about doing. Come and meet with me about it. So you're going to get an appointment for business, or you're going to get a referral for future business, or you're going to build your database, which is increasing your METs, or build a relationship for future business. A lot of the lead generation that we're doing, the guided lead generation, will kind of be on 2 fronts. What do you need to do? Do you need to develop relationships, or do you need to feed your database? Because we can look at them from different standpoints, right? The Shredder event stuff we're doing right now is all about increasing your database, right? Getting people into your database for Gabby and Ursulina, who we were working with on that this morning. And we're going to track your numbers. Stay on track so you're truly hitting your goals. You guys all have access to this lead generation tracker, and then you can track your numbers in the fun Snap Habit app that we are all going to learn how to use together. I bribed Ken this morning to get him to track his lead gen in the app. Hopefully we all have access to it. It's not loading for me. I have to close it up. But go ahead and join our journey on there. Be friends with everybody. Look at that. Hey, we've got, I can't see anybody's names. Oh, Sheeden, we've got to figure this out.
If you click on that, on the, where it says daily lead gen. This might also says daily walk and color brand, I don't know why, but.
Yeah, mine
That's
says
all-
that too,
that's
yeah.
all mine has is the walking.
Oh, then you haven't gotten into her thing, so snap that again.
Yeah.
If you click on that, Anna, though, it shows Michael Lee.
Yeah, does it say Michael Lee, like plus friend?
It wants me to add him as a friend.
Yes, so I made the mistake of actually clicking that, and I added everybody as a friend, and then that little bubble went away, and now I don't have your names. So we're gonna figure it out. It's all fine.
Huh.
It's gonna be great. I think one of the workarounds for that, though,
GTS. You know what that is, right?
Hmm.
Google this.
yeah,
GTS.
Yep.
GTS.
that's great.
I think one of the workarounds though is if you add either a note or a picture to your little green box, when you say, yes, I've done my habit, you add a note and add a picture, then it shows up like in the actual feed below. Yeah. I think, I don't know. We're gonna keep playing with
I
it.
only see Monday the 2nd. I can't get over to today. Oh, I guess to, oops, I don't know who's.
Yeah.
Who did I just add a Legion thing to? You shouldn't be able to add it to somebody else.
Did you just add it for
I don't
something?
know, maybe it's me and I don't, oh, it could be me because it doesn't ask me to share a friend. Let me take it off. But it doesn't tell me.
Oh. When Sheehan and I played around with this
Oh, yeah, I
last
can't add
week,
anything to my
it-
folder.
yeah,
I
it
can't
seemed
even
pretty
see
cool.
the
And
priority.
Tell me, you have to snap that again.
Okay,
You did? You probably have to do that.
start over.
No, yesterday I had to get the app and then re-snap that. And then it got me in here because you're asking to join a journey.
Oh, it's true.
It's called Daily Legion.
maybe,
What says invite by link? Hey, hang on.
oh, you know
Hold
what? Yeah,
up. Let me send it to you, Ricky.
Do you see yourself running? I don't.
Yeah.
you should be the top line.
No, not me.
It just, it won't share your name. It
Oh,
won't show
okay.
your name, but you
Yeah,
should be
it
the
won't show-
top line.
It's the only one you can click in.
Yeah,
Oh, gotcha, okay.
yeah.
Okay, Ricky, here's the, so
So,
use this and you'll go into the. See, I just sent you a text. It says I'm starting a group habit. What's it? It's mine. Daily Legion. And I'd love for you to join.
Join habit.
yay. Yeah, there you go. You just
Kevin
joined it.
Kim
habit to
wants
join.
me to join their group
Okay.
habit.
Yay. Okay. So that's what we're gonna do. It's absolutely at this point kind of a very mysterious and maybe not perfect reporting system, but you know, we're gonna get to know it, and should be a lot of fun. And most importantly, it's like easy and free and all of those things. It's automatically set up to like give you a daily reminder and all of those things. So it's pretty turnkey, and it's gonna allow us to have some collaboration on here. So definitely check that out. We'll get better at it as we go through the month, I'm sure. Develop your skills every single day. Do something to increase your skill level and effectiveness. So that could include things like doing script practice or role play, attending an action-focused training. We talked yesterday about the difference between just a training and an action-focused training. So make sure there's an action focus in the training that you're going to go to. Have a coach and accountability session, or read a book. And so here's your book list. I sat down with Ricky after we all met yesterday, and I was like, here's the book list, and this week we're reading Shift, and he's like, you mean the whole thing?
There's not enough pictures in there.
Yes, the whole thing. I know, this is a lot, especially if you're out of the habit of reading on a regular basis. This is a lot of book to dive into in 1 week. So make it easy on yourself. You know, you can definitely Google some ways to make it through these materials much faster. I will tell you, Shift is really the foundation of what we're going through right now. This is like the how to lead generate guide. It gives you, it is the in-depth like of this class that we're in now, right? So Shift is definitely what you want to start with. Next week, we're going to go into the Go Giver by Bob Burg. This is a phenomenal leadership parable about being able to give in order to receive, and how to come from contribution to be there for others. So check that one out. That's a quicker read, a much quicker read. Exactly what to say for week 3. That one, I have that one actually in my office. I haven't brought in the other ones yet, but it's a small book. You'll move really fast through that one. You'll definitely want a paper copy of exactly what to say. If you are doing like some sort of e-reader or Audible or something like that, you'll definitely want exactly what to say in paper, and then follow up and close the sale. I am listening to that one right now, and I am in love with that. It is such a good book about follow-up skills and how, I mean, that in itself is a whole art form that is just amazing, and having great follow-up skills will be one of the things that compounds the effort you're putting into your lead generation in a big way. So, so save those, inside of the spreadsheet, go back to the spreadsheet, all of these books live there. Under the resources tab, as well as their Amazon link, so that you can go shopping and pick them up. Here's what I'd say: if you're going to get a paper copy of them, go ahead today and order Follow Up and Close the Sale, because it is out a little while for delivery. So May 11th, it says right now. So there, you know, you've got another week or so on delivery for that one. So, so order that one right away. I'm still waiting for my paper copy of that one. It's a big deal. Maybe don't get a paper one if you don't need a paper one, but I don't know. It is what it is. The authors and publishers of those books did not pay me to promote those books.
And I told you, who cares?
I know.
Oh, mine comes May 7th, so just,
Oh, there you go.
maybe that's why it's $22.
$2, maybe. Maybe, I don't
There's
know
no
when
such
mine's
thing
coming.
as free shipping.
I don't know when mine's coming. Okay, so, there we go, guys. Remember that your 3 hours of lead generation contain this anatomy, right? You are preparing for lead gen, you are taking action, and then you are maintaining what you've just taken action on. Do yourself a favor, do your preparation today. That is your homework tonight, is the preparation for your lead gen. So do your preparation today for tomorrow or for this weekend or whatever lead gen you're doing next. There we go. This is the one we want. Oh, thank you, Sheetan, for putting that in the chat too. And if you guys are ever curious and you want to come on up and take a look at the screen setup so that like we can see everybody and all of that stuff, whenever it makes sense, I'll put the faces at home on the screen here so that we can all participate that way as well, as we kind of navigate through this kind of hybrid setting. But here we are, we're going to dive in prospecting and marketing. Once again, your materials are going to be like missing some pages. They might be kind of out of page number order. So if that's something that's really important to you, I'm super sorry. It's just going to drive you nuts. We trimmed some stuff out of there. We moved a few pieces around because they just made more sense in other sessions or as homework or something like that. So just something to be prepared for. We are going to tackle a lot of stuff today. We're going to take a look at lead generation, put those puzzle pieces together. The 3 steps of prospecting: connecting with others and overcoming a limiting mindset. We are going to define our brand. We're going to market our listing, and we're going to become systematic about that marketing. Now, just a spoiler here, defining our brand and systematic marketing are a couple of pieces that we're going to just like super high level touch on, but that will show back up in other places in 36.12.3. So here we go. Before we dive into this, you guys have your first page should be like numbered page 10, I think. One agent's perfect day of prospecting, all about Bill Watson and what a perfect day looks like for him. It's actually page 2. Yeah, you guys have that? Go ahead and read that really quick and then share with me what you think. So what do you guys think of Bill Watson's perfect day?
I think he didn't account for drive time.
What else?
The Iron Man.
The Iron Man, yeah. Who's got a calculator handy? It's got their phone hand. Ken, he's averaging 8 transactions a month. So, what did we decide yesterday was an average commission? About 13 grand?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go 13 times 8,
1.25.
1.25 in GCI a year, having the schedule.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever he wrote this, whatever year that was.
At averaging 8 transactions a month. Let's say he
Yeah.
just averaged 8 transactions a month forever in perpetuity.
Okay.
Doing this, 8 transactions a month, $1.25 million a year. Would you wake up and do this every day, 5 days a week for more than $1 million a year?
I mean-
Would you do it 2 hours a day for 300,000?
And so I think there's a lot to be able to take away from this, right? Bill does this every single day. This is his job, right? He's closing on average 8 transactions a month, and he every single day does this, right? So he's focused on the lead generation. I promise he's got a whole army behind him cleaning up the mess and making sure those transactions are amazing, right? So just something to keep in mind. Your perfect day can look very different than that, right? Does your perfect day yield $1 million+ in GCI every year, right?
Well, and if you back the numbers down to 3 hours of lead gen a day, he's on pace for the amount of time he's putting in it to get his 3 a month at 3 hours. Because he's at 8 hours and he's getting 8 a month, so.
So 3 a
it
month or
seems
3
like
hours,
Superman, but if you just do, his results are the plan.
right?
He's just doing it.
I love that.
What's the mastermind, not this last one, but the one before that? They were talking about this agent that knocked 100 doors a day and makes $2 million a year. Remember that?
Mm-mm.
Remember what I'm talking about?
I don't remember specifically what you're talking about recently, but I know a lot of stories that way, like that's it, door knock. That's it, it's only lead gen.
Mhm.
This was a guy in KW, currently does this, 100 doors a day, $2 million a year.
Mhm.
And imagine how good he is doing it if he does it 100 a day.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the story that I heard was at family reunion like 3 or 4 years ago. Guy door knocked, he had a time frame that he door knocked, not a door number, right?
Yeah.
And here was his script. I'm Ricky with Keller Williams. I'm just curious, who's your next neighbor to sell their house? And the moment he got a name for the second time, he went and took their listing. And
Mhm.
he worked 6 months a year. He was in California. His price point was like 1.1 billion.
Yeah.
And then he spent the other 6 months fishing on the 600,000 acres he bought in Yellowstone in Wyoming. That was it.
Yep.
That's all he did.
All
His
different
next
ways to
neighbor
do this.
sell.
Okay, that's all he did, was knock on some doors. Do you think that's all he did? Do you think he
In
did
terms of
anything
lead
with,
gen,
do you
yes.
think he did anything with the data that he collected? Do you think he
100%.
did anything to nurture those relationships? Do you think over time that repeat and referral business started to become a thing? So all he did is knock on some doors. We hear that and we think all we have to do is go knock on some damn doors. No, there's a whole system around knocking on some doors, right? I get fired up around this stuff because that's why people quit. I knocked on 100 doors a day, but you didn't do all of the other things. You met the people, but you didn't grow your database, right? You didn't put them in your database. You didn't do anything else with them. You may have met them. Maybe you're going to get some transactions just because you're really charismatic in person and you asked the right questions and you did it 100 times. So you got pretty good at it, right? But are you going to get that kind of results unless it's a part of a bigger picture? And then you can, it's, you've got to peel back the curtain. There aren't any standalone activities that are going to yield those kinds of results. Right? I do videos on YouTube. No, you don't. You have a whole system around building your online presence in your brand and capturing those leads and following up with those people. You didn't just put a video on the internet and get a ton of business, right? You have to peel back the curtain. Remember, lead generation strategies supported by lead generation efforts.
I think when I
Right.
say all we did was knock on doors, I think it's the difference between the real estate is simple and not easy. Right? It's simple to just go knock on the door of your next neighbor to sell. Yes, the magic is in all of the follow-up and all the information. and all the
Absolutely.
data and all the things post or not,
Mhm.
right?
But I think
But I just
there's a
think it's
lot
simple
of,
to start it.
I think there's a lot of misinterpretation around the simplicity that we see. Well, that's all they did. It's that easy,
I
right?
would say that when he first started out, I'm sure he didn't just, come out of the womb and start knocking doors as a real estate agent. So over the course of him getting started in the business, he realized that he came up with a immediate response
Yeah,
call.
he had a
that thing.
mofer.
He's got a mofer, and he figured out how to use it and saw that it worked for him. And so he doubled down on that, became an expert on that, and that was his lead gen thing to do.
Yep.
The rest of it you still have to do, but he's not wasting his time, with $2,000 a month budget on Google Ads. That's his thing.
Right.
So
Yeah.
he became an expert on the one lead gen tactic that
Yes.
he has.
Love
That's
that.
what we should learn from that.
Yeah. Love that. And it all works together, marketing and prospecting, right? And how they work together. Prospecting is seeking leads and marketing is attracting them to you. Okay. There are a lot of different things that we do inside of our business. And let's take this guy, this fictional real guy who knocks on 100 doors and closes 2.5 million a year, right? How much of what he does is prospecting and how much is marketing, right? We could probably make some guesses in that. What's the actual knocking on the door?
Prospecting,
If he leaves anything behind, what is that,
marketing.
right? If he follows up in any way, shape, or form, that's probably a marketing piece as well. It's going to have this branding on it. It's going to do all of those things. So the two work together. If all he did was the prospecting piece and knocked on the door and didn't have any marketing to support that, would he be as successful? I don't know, because I don't know this guy's situation, right? He could be sitting in the room and saying, nope, that's literally all I do is knock on the door. I burn the numbers. I don't do any sort of follow-up. I don't have any sort of leave behind. The magic is in just having that conversation. And I'm so charismatic that it works. $2.5 million a year, right? That could very well be the case. I doubt it though, right? So he's going to be doing both. He's going to be doing some marketing and some prospecting, right? And all of the lead generation activities that we do, there's going to be a marketing and a prospecting component to that, right? And it all works together, right? It all works together to cement that impression, to create that brand name, right? To turn you into somebody they know, like, and trust. So prospecting and marketing working together with an emphasis on prospecting, right? In this book that you guys are all reading right now, I'm sure. Yeah. Yes. Halfway through, all the way through. Michael's finished it. He's on his third go. Okay. You're going to talk about being prospecting based and marketing enhanced. Okay, prospecting based and marketing enhanced. And that's exactly what this picture means. It means that the majority of your lead generation efforts are going to be based on actually going out and finding people, right? And then you're going to enhance those with supportive marketing pieces inside of that conversation, right? As you might imagine, there are some cost differences between prospecting and marketing. Prospecting in a lot of instances is a sweat equity opportunity, and it is your time that's required for prospecting versus your money, right? Something that you can consider too is that relationship between time and money in your relationship business or in your real estate business. In the beginning, when you don't have any or much money to put into your business, the amount of time you're going to put in increases, right? As the time you put in starts earning you more money, you're going to be able to back off some of that time and supplement what you're doing with money, right? And so you're going to continue to play that game. The MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, calls that playing red light, green light, right? You're stopping the expenses until you've got the revenue to support those expenses, as opposed to leading with expenses, right? And spending money that you haven't made yet. Spend your time. But as your business progresses, you can't go out and get more time, right? So you have to spend your money to buy more time. And we call that leverage, right? With a tool, a system, a person, you're going to buy more time with that leverage. Okay, let's dive into some of the myths. Prospecting equals cold calling equals rejection, right? What part of that is a myth? Prospecting can equal cold calling, which can equal rejection, but it doesn't have to. It's not exclusive to that. Not only does prospecting not just equal cold calling, right? It can equal a lot of different things, but cold calling doesn't always equal rejection either. Would you say 1 out of every, 500-600 calls you make, you're gonna get an appointment with?
Yeah, if you're just doing cold calls for lists, maybe 1 out of 500 or 600 people that you call are ready to do something right now. I think that if you're doing, we did a lot of cold calling on, we basically identified people that bought their home prior to 2006 for a while. And we basically just created a call list, and I had an ISA calling into that. And our hit rate on adding people to the database that we're going to do something within a year was around 6 to 8%. So for every 100 people, you hit, 8 of them were going to do something this year, which is consistent with the 8 to 12. And that was in a market that was still coming back. So it probably was better than that in reality as the prices increased to the point where they weren't underwater until that changed.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if you're doing cold calling, that's the conversion rates that you should be trying to hit.
Yeah.
10% conversion rate into the database, meaning we're going to do something with you within a year, is a really good return on that kind of call.
Love that. But the truth, prospecting equals meeting people and building relationships, right? We were talking about that yesterday being your number one job, right? Meet people and have real estate conversations. And if you're going out into the world to find the people you're going to meet, then you are prospecting to do that. All right, prospecting means contacting people you don't know. The truth is, prospecting means you could be contacting people you know as well as people you don't know, right? As we are lead generating, remember we have 4 goals, right? We're going to strengthen that relationship. We're going to add people to our database. We're also going to get the referral or set the appointment. So I could be doing that with people I already know as well.
One way to think of that is like LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn and you connect with somebody you know, LinkedIn immediately shows you the people that they know, and they call them second generation or third or whatever they call it. And if you think of your prospecting as finding the people you know and connecting to all the people they know until you know them and then connecting to people they know, then it's never a cold call. It's some connection to get to someone you don't know.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there's strategies inside both of those, reaching out to people you know and people you don't know. Okay. Prospecting is what you do when you launch your business. Only new agents have to prospect. Michael, that's pretty true, isn't it? 22 years in the business. I mean, you don't do any prospecting anymore, do you?
I did today.
I heard them. I saw that.
Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff. It's what you do to keep your real estate business running and growing. You should never stop prospecting. Like we were talking about yesterday, even if you're really comfortable with the size of your database and the amount of business that's coming out of it, your database is shrinking every single year because people's needs change, they become a realtor, they know a realtor, they no longer need real estate, right? And all of those things change. So even if you're really happy with where things are at, if you do nothing about it, it will diminish.
What's the number they said they released like 2 years ago? It was like some ridiculous percentage of people in your database are in someone else's database as well. It
Uh-huh.
was like 68%.
No, I think the actual number is 100%. you know, Yeah, no, absolutely. Everybody who's in your database is in somebody else's database as well.
My neighbor.
100%.
I was on a call
Everyone.
last month where they also said that every single 12-month cycle, 30% of the contact information or 30% of your contacts will have bad information, meaning their phone numbers changed, their email addresses changed, their work position, their family status, something
Something.
about that. And if you don't touch it within 3 years, none of your database is current.
That's awesome.
There's
Wow.
actually companies that you
Will
can
do
pay
that.
to do it for you.
Yes.
Once you have enough prospecting to be able to pay.
To
for
be able to
that.
do that. Yep. Yep. All right. So what are the benefits of prospecting? Is inexpensive. And I would insert the comma here, may yield immediate results, right? It doesn't always yield immediate results. If you do it enough, often enough, it may yield immediate results in a way that marketing very, very likely won't. Okay, so let's say what you were going to do is go knock on 100 doors today. You very well may knock on a door of somebody who is thinking about moving and they'll invite you over this weekend for a listing appointment. That has a high likelihood of happening, right? A much higher likelihood of happening than if you sent out 100 postcards to those same people. Do you guys agree with that?
One does. One.
Right.
Just
Mhm.
happened.
There we go.
Charlotte. Happened to us.
Yes, Charlotte, it happened to you guys. All right, she's still on, by the way. Hi, Charlotte. All right. Hey, it puts you in control of filling your pipeline of leads. Okay, so prospecting actually puts you in the driver's seat of how much business you're going to do. It increases your confidence and your skill. Talk about getting some at-bats. If every single day you are prospecting for the majority of your lead generation time, you are going to be meeting people and having real estate conversations, and you are going to get darn good at having those real estate conversations. Build quantity leads or a quantity of leads, which will yield quality leads. This is something, remember yesterday we were looking at the graph and how there's no bad leads, they're just further away from that buying decision, right? Well, if you just had 5 leads, it would matter how close they are to that buying decision, right? But if you had 500 of them, it would be pretty okay if there were some people who are down here and some people who are up here and some people who are closer, right? So getting that quantity of leads is going to increase the quality that you're going to find inside of your lead pool. And you're going to get more of a quantity of leads with prospecting. It's going to also keep you in direct contact with the market and protect you against market shifts. You are going to feel it before you see it in the MLS reports if you are prospecting every day. If you are, let's just keep using this example, if you are knocking on 100 doors a day, you are going to feel that conversation change in the neighborhood before you see it in the MLS. You are either going to get an increase or a decrease in the amount of people who are interested in whatever your MOFR is, right? You're going to have to make a shift there before you even see that in the MLS, right? You are going to start hearing buzzes of inventory coming on the market. You are going to start hearing the fears that are keeping people from making a buying or selling decision. You are going to be ground level on that before that even happens in the MLS, right? So if you're prospecting every day, you really have a good idea of what's happening in the market and you can pivot before your business is affected by it. So 3 steps to prospecting. Approach, connect, and ask. So approaching people. Prospecting is a proactive activity. You have to take the lead on this, right? You can absolutely hold an open house and call that prospecting, but if you don't actually have a conversation with anyone who tours the house, then all you did was like air that place out for the day. Kill your time and waste your efforts. You have to actually take the initiative to make the approach with the people inside of the open house, right? You can, we were talking this morning a little bit about door knocking versus door dropping, right? If you are door dropping, that is a marketing activity. You can say that you're door knocking all you want to, but if you didn't actually take the initiative to have a conversation with somebody in the neighborhood, then you're not really doing a prospecting based activity, and you're not in control of those results. You're not yielding the return that you could. Have the right mindset to approach. Remember that you're coming from contribution, right? You have a valuable service that people want and need in this market, right? A shifting market especially, but any market, these are challenging to navigate, right? So you provide a very unique and highly sought after service that helps protect the net worth of Americans, right? You literally protect the American dream with your fiduciary real estate license. I wholeheartedly believe that. Without us, people are buying and selling homes in a car dealership like atmosphere, and equity isn't a thing anymore. We no longer have a nest egg or a net worth, right? We help represent, the average American on the open market in the best way possible. We help them get the most money for their home or purchase for the best terms available. And so remember that when you go in, have the right mindset and approach to work with your clients, right? Be proactive and don't wait for people to come to you. Be willing to break the ice. You've got to be a Ricky in the middle of the elevator, right? Like, absolutely. Chat with people by all means. We were talking about this morning too, like, wear your name badge. Why the heck not? Wear some KW gear. Right? Does anybody ever stop you? I cornered Gwen on this because I know she's got like a whole closet full of KW gear. Does anybody ever does it start conversations for you? No, I know Keller Williams. I know Keller Williams. I know Keller Williams.
Oddly, I don't know what it is. Some people don't know what it is. It's just KW.
I don't know.
Keller Williams.
What's Keller Williams? Yeah.
But it's still a conversation.
Absolutely. Name badges. I love name badges. I love name badges because they are, Ricky, do you see people with name badges often? And do you start conversations with them?
Yes, 100% I do.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably just naturally wired that
For
way.
me, I should get back to it. I honestly don't even know why I stopped. I had more luck wearing my name badge upside down. Because people will correct you. They will tell you your name badge is upside down. They may or may not say, well, hello, Ricky Garris from Keller Williams. But they will tell you that your name tag's on upside down.
There you go. There you go, right? And a proactive approach might be, if you see somebody wearing a name tag, are you stopping them? Are you asking what they do? There's a chance that they just got off shift from IHOP and they haven't taken their name badge off yet, right? That's a chance. There's also a chance that they're a professional just like you who's wearing their name badge so that someone will stop them. And now you'll have a great conversation. Okay. Be friendly, be caring, be real, be courteous, be ready to give positive feedback, be confident in your pace and your posture, and be ready to connect. So be ready for the approach. When you connect, come from contribution, see yourself as a giver, right? And always be curious. Use something like a forward approach to get to know somebody, dive deeper. This is fun. We had some really good conversations about market stats. So with your guys' permission on some of these exercises, we might just move past them unless y'all have a burning desire to practice one of these things, then stop me and we'll do it. But in this exercise, we are going to go ahead and we're just going to kind of move through approaching and connecting, right? So ask. That's the final step in that piece, right? We need to ask for their business, ask for their contact information, ask for an opportunity to follow up. It's been great connecting with you today. I'd love to connect again in the future. How would I best reach you? Right? In door knocking, right? A great follow-up is asking if they'd like to have some regular updates about what's happening in their neighborhood, everything from market statistics to who's buying and selling down the street. Capture their contact information, right? At an open house, right? Obviously, the sellers asked me to collect everyone's contact information so that I can, so that we can know who's in the property. But you know, if another home like this came on the market, except for it had X, Y, and Z that this one doesn't, how would I reach you with that? Right? Don't be afraid to be direct and to ask. Surprisingly enough, there's actually some super great, concise scripts inside of your shift book on how to do that. I'm not going to find them right off the top of my head, obviously. But there's some really good content in there. It goes really nicely with everything that we're talking about this week, which is probably why it's this week's book. So ask for their contact information, ask for the referral, ask for the appointment, right? Take that step to ask for whatever's most appropriate inside of that conversation and inside of that meeting. Okay. And then we're going to connect. We're going to connect with our prospects by doing one of three things. We're going to call, we're going to visit, and we're going to host events or drive them to events to be able to connect. So when you're calling, know who you're going to call. There are a lot of different groups of people that you can be calling for prospecting base, right? It can be expired listings or for sale by owners, right? These are people who've already raised their hand. They have a real estate desire. They just don't have the right professional working for them, right? Interview for that job. Call them up and ask to interview. Referrals. Asking for referrals or calling the referrals that you've received from somebody. Internet leads, these could be social media leads, these could be aggregator leads, these could be website leads, these could be any sort of internet lead, website inquiries. You could also have that just be inquiries in general, right? People aren't as often going to our website these days and asking questions, right? So some of this material shows its age, but most of it is pretty darn timeless. And those inquiries are going to come pretty frequently if we have a listing or we're marketing for those inquiries to come in, right? So anything that's going to be incoming from our marketing materials, we're going to be able to call them, and we're going to be able to call our database, our METs, right? So when to call. Cold calls versus warm calls versus hot calls, right? So I love this, and you can take a look at page 47. Bob Guest uses this approach while he's calling his leads, but the simplest scale, right? He's going to call his hot leads first. These are people who've already raised their hand and said that I have something imminent that's coming up. I am ready, willing, and able to transact business, right? And then I'm going to switch to my warm leads. Once I've exhausted my hot and my warm leads, I'm going to start going to cold leads. Right? And so that's the best use of your time, right? Sometimes we address our hot leads because they've already raised their hands and we know that they're there. And then we go to cold leads because we have this fear of missing out, right? We have this fear of missing people, and we think that we have to keep that wheel turning when we already have people in the hopper, and we most commonly will skip the warm leads. Right? That could be your sphere of influence. That could be somebody that you've been nurturing for a long time. That's just not hot yet, but we might skip those warm leads. Know what to say when you're calling. Well, let's start with do not call. That's on the next page. Do not call us. You will also see it plastered as the screensaver on the training room, inside of every team meeting, inside of our office policy manual, and anywhere else that we can stick it that our legal counsel feels like you will see. Do not call registry is a very real thing. When you are teleprospecting, you need to make sure that you are only teleprospecting to those numbers who are not registered on the do not call registry. We, as the market center, use a subscription service that allows us to scrub any numbers that you're getting from us against the do not call registry. If you start farming your own information and using your own data sources, then you will need to subscribe to your own do not call registry registration and scrub those lists yourself. How in the world is that done? I have no idea, but really smart people do. So I'm sure when you cross that bridge and you're ready to do that, you'll be able to find those that information probably in that place that Gwen said earlier. You're gonna GTS, Google that stuff. Love it. Yep.
So how do we take advantage of, you said that Keller Williams here has, is it a subscription or something that you have for the do not or how would we utilize that?
The do not call list.
Yeah.
You're gonna Google do not call registry, and you're gonna, I think it's like do not call.gov or something like that, and you're gonna register for your own.
For your own, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless you're getting, like, you're here for guided lead generation sessions and we give you a call list.
Oh,
We
gotcha.
give you a
I
call
see.
list, it's already scrubbed.
Yeah.
Our
Oh,
service
okay.
does that. And if you're using a data aggregator that does those kind of things, most of them already scrub for the do not call list, and you're gonna be okay, but you're personally responsible for that unless you actually get that from us, then we've already taken the responsibility for that. Also, the TCPA, Telephone Consumer Protection Act. The Telephone Consumer Protection Act pretty much says that you cannot do spammy things with a telephone, right? So you're not leaving automated voice messages. You're not just broadcasting things unless people have specifically opted into those types of messages. I may have pulled it out of your material. I intended to pull it out of your material, but it probably snuck in here somewhere. There is actually a section in here. This material was written like 15 years ago. There is actually a section in here that talks about sending out like pre-recorded voice messages in a spammy way. If you run across that in your material, please don't do that kind of thing for a few reasons. The first is, like, you are way above that. You don't need to spam people in that kind of way to get your message across. That's just generally speaking very inappropriate. But it's also illegal, and you can be fined, and you can pay very hefty fines for that. Let's say one person reports you, but you sent that same spammy message to 1,000 people, you will pay that fine for all 1,000 people you sent it to, not just the one who reported you. So it can add up really quickly. Don't do that. If you have questions about what you're doing and if it crosses that line at all, talk to me, talk to Donna, consult our office policy manual, all of those things. You'll get some more information. Okay, due diligence done. Hey, know what to say. Your message is going to change based on who you're calling, when you're calling them, and the purpose of your call, right? Be prepared with the right message. The best way to be prepared with that right message is to take advantage of script and role play opportunities, right? Script practice and role play opportunities. I know with Rockstar Agent, we've got some great a script practice and role play group that they do that's going to be running. The region offers script practice and role play every morning at 8:30, I believe, on Zoom. So you can hop into that. You can do that here in the Market Center for those guided lead gen sessions where we talk about conversations and how to have them. Be prepared for what you're going to say, who you're going to say it to, and just make sure that your message matches your audience. Right. And all of those pieces. So it seems kind of common sense, but you want to think about that ahead of time as you're preparing for those prospecting sessions. Okay. Then you're going to visit. Know who you can visit. You can door knock and do pop buys, and there's all different ways you can visit people. So either way, when you're door knocking or doing pop buys, you're going to have some sort of item of value. Okay, this is going to be the cornerstone. Always be giving something first. It does a couple of things, right? It sets you up for the law of reciprocity. If I have something to give you, you're going to feel in the back of your mind obligated to give me something in return. It makes it a lot easier when I then ask you, well, who do you know who's looking to buy or sell? This is a great market for somebody to be moving up right now. Right. I'd love to, be able to take great care of them like I've taken great care of you. It sets them up for that. It also starts a conversation, right? It shows somebody that you're caring. It's coming from gratitude. So always do that. But those are some great options for being able to visit. Who can you visit? All of the same people you could call, really, and then expand on that list, right? But you could pop by a for sale by owner with Market Report, or with one of those free open house signs so that they could hold that open house on Saturday that they don't want to do, right? You could pop by an expired listing with your marketing package that has their house on it, so they can see what you do differently. You could pop by a geographic farm and invite them to the Shredder event on Saturday as part of a community appreciation, right? You can pop by those in apartments and offer them something that helps them maybe realize their dream of home ownership, right? You can knock on the door of homeowners around an open house. You can go visit businesses, banks, home builders, just about any business anywhere. You can layer these types of things with different strategies as well, right? If we want to use this door knocking example, right? This guy knocks on 100 doors a day. What do you think he's doing? If his town has, 80,000 people in it, is he knocking a different 100 doors every day to get to all 80,000 of those? Or has he maybe selected a 1,000 home neighborhood that he's really focused on getting to know, and he knocks on those doors once every 2 weeks? Right? What does that look like? And if it's in that case, then that could be part of a larger piece. Maybe he also visits the local bank and the grocery store, and he's their preferred realtor, and his name's on the billboard, and he's sponsoring events with them, and he's doing all of those things. And anywhere you go in that neighborhood, there's that door knocking guy who's just showing up regularly, right? So these can all be different strategies that layer together. Know when to visit. More common sense pieces you're going to visit based on who it is you're visiting and when it makes the most sense. But you can actually plan these visits out. If going and visiting somebody is a part of your strategy, you can pair those together. So on page 54, I think you guys have this, maybe. I'll bet you have this. You can plan out who and when you're going to call and visit so that you can be really strategic about preparing those pieces. Okay, and then attending or hosting events. So a lot of different ways that you can make this happen, right? You can host events like the Shredder event that we're hosting at the office, an open house, a customer appreciation party, a buyer or seller or investor seminar, some sort of community event. You could join a organization or group. Are meetups still a thing? I don't know. They used to be. When I got started in real estate, I did like 25 different meetups, right? And there was like a mom's group and a business owners mom's group. And then one of them turned into like a big group, the Douglas County Divas. I don't even know if they're still a thing anymore. Like it all, yes, right? Douglas County Divas, yes, yes, yes. Such fun, great professional networking events. So I don't know if they're still a thing, right? It's like the MySpace of professional professional meetups, right? But I don't know, maybe you want to Google that stuff and, and maybe figure out if meetups are a thing. Professional networking is a great way to get events into your world, right? Great way to get face to face. But you don't have to wait for an event or somebody else to hold an event. You can create an event and then use all of these strategies around that event, right? That's why the Market Center hosts the agent events, right? That's why we do it, is so that you can use all of these strategies to lead generate around one of these events. You can call, you can visit, you can market, you can prospect, you can do all of these things because the shredder truck's going to be here on Saturday. What? I mean, it seems so silly, but it really gives you fuel for that fire when you don't have maybe other fuel to put on it. You can attract people to these events, really utilize those. You can utilize them for people you know and for people you don't, okay? Open houses, great reason for those events, right? Was it in this room? Was it yesterday that we were talking about the real reason why we host open houses, or was this some other time? I don't know, this week's been weird.
Some other time, I don't think it was yesterday.
No.
Yeah,
Why do we hold open houses?
Build your
I was
database.
gonna say it's more for the realtor, right?
Absolutely. Why?
Sold it for the realtors.
Why do-
Yeah.
Why does John Q. Public think we hold open houses?
To sell it.
Yeah.
Why does your seller ask you to hold an open house?
They think you're gonna sell it.
Because they think
Yeah.
you're gonna sell it, right? It's kind of our like dirty little secret that the open house isn't gonna sell your house. What, less than 1% of people who bought their house found it at an open house, right? They may have bought their house because of an open house, but it wasn't that house. It was the other house the realtor showed them because they wandered into that one. What are the chances that you're gonna drive by a neighborhood that looks really appealing and you're going to see this plain old red and white sign and you're going to wander into that house and it's the right size and the right space at the right price point at the right time, you're the right person and they're the right agent, all of those things, right? What are the chances of that? Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the chances? It almost doesn't happen, right? But you know, it does happen, bless you, is we build our databases on open houses. It gives us an event to do all of these other things. I get to meet 100 neighbors. If I am door knocking the neighborhood, I get to call, I can circle prospect around it. I can follow up afterwards. Hey, I held this house open last week and on Wednesday it went under contract. I know you live in the neighborhood. You'd probably be interested to hear that. Do you want to join my list so you can get an email update of when that house sells and you can see exactly for what it sells for, and oh, by the way, get the photos of what it looks like inside, right? That's what people want. Oh, and then you can use all of those same pieces to attract somebody to maybe listing their house with you in the neighborhood, right? I have so many things you could do because of that event, right? All because of that event. That is why a realtor is going to host the neighborhood yard sale, right? Pull the dumpster up, which is a brilliant event, by the way, Ricky.
I stole that, by the way.
Yeah.
I stole that from a team leader in Steamboat
Oh.
Rail or something.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sponsor the food truck at the pool open house.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even matter really what that event is, so long as you can build it, right? But we were talking about it, the more real estate-y that event is that you're hosting, the closer to the transaction people are going to be who you meet at that event. The less real estate-y, the further out they're going to be, right? Food truck at the pool. I'm going to get people who are at the very bottom of that curve, right? Open house in the neighborhood. I'm going to get people who are further up the curve because they're kind of thinking about, buying or selling real estate, right? But if I have a how to invest in real estate seminar, I'm going to get people who are right now thinking of investing in real estate. right? So the more real estate specific that event is, the closer to the transaction those people are going to be, and the more immediate your prospecting business is going to be, right? So if you have a high need for like immediate business, look at really real estate specific events. It's a funnel, right? The closer you are to the bottom of the funnel, the fewer people are going to jump inside of that funnel. So you're going to have fewer people at your invest in real estate event than you are at the open house. And you're going to have way fewer people at that open house than you are at the food truck at the pool, right? So you have to decide what's most important to you. When you're growing your database and the number one concern you have is putting people into your database, do the food truck at the pool. You're going to get a lot of people into your database, right? They've got to scan for the menu, and before they can get the menu, they've got to put their lead capture in the data form, whatever. I mean, do it a million ways.
If you're gonna do something like that, if you're not gonna then turn around and be involved with the HOA activities around that event, you're wasting your money. It's
Mhm.
more of a entry point into meeting people so that you can then build a relationship.
Yeah.
Outside of real estate with them.
Big strategy.
Big strategy.
Yeah.
Ricky, how did you collect information on the dumpster event?
At my assistant, people just had to sign in if they wanted to dump what was in their truck, they had to give us their contact info.
Okay, so it's just that.
That was just like that. The other thing is this, we talk about ways to add people to your database, and you gotta do it. No database, no business. I'm a big proponent though for new agents, start with one. Just find one person to add to your database. Find one person every day from wherever you're gonna get it, get one. So that at the end of the week, you have 5. And at the end of your first month, you've got 20.
Mhm.
And Gary's math will show you if you had one a day, what's it take 5 years to be a millionaire real estate agent or something?
Yeah.
But so start with one. You don't have to start with get 4,000 people in your database. Get one and go
Yeah.
from there.
Hey, and before you get started on these prospecting based activities, the first step was get into the right mindset, right? Make sure that you have a mindset of you're coming from contribution. Great way to do that is with an affirmation. There are long form and short form affirmations. You probably have a thing that you tell yourself to get yourself in the zone and psyched out before you do what you need to go and do, right? My kind of lasting affirmation is, I got this. I got this. I say this all the time, right? In my head to myself, it changes my mood. It grounds me, centers me, gives me the confidence to move forward. I got this, right? You've got this. Right? Is there something that you can anchor around an affirmation, or go long form, right? There are some really great long form affirmations and some very, very phenomenal mindset things you can do with yourself to get yourself in the zone. And so you can look at those as well. There's a lovely section in here on mindset and affirmations. So you can definitely check that out. Let's dive into a little bit of marketing here, because it's going to support all of those prospecty things we just did, right? Lead generation is like bread. It won't work without certain ingredients. You need people, you need prospecting, you need marketing, and doing it on a daily habit provides your heat. Provides your heat. So what is marketing? Marketing is a more passive form of lead generation. It helps attract business to you. Marketing is really the layer that helps your prospecting like stick and work. Marketing can happen before or after you've met somebody. And it happens in both cases and helps to support both of those pieces. It is going to attract people to you, right? If you've already met them, it's going to help them know you and like you and trust you, right? So that they'll want to do business with you. If you haven't met them yet, it's going to give them an opportunity to meet you. Okay. But marketing is definitely passive. It can also be more expensive. There are very few, if any, marketing things you can do at like no cost. The best I can come up with is use your free copies every month for some black and white marketing pieces, right? Partner with your lender or another allied resource and do some marketing together. Share the cost, share the leads, right? Do that kind of thing. There are some electronic forms of marketing now that really are free, right? We think of like our website, that is for marketing. We're not really prospecting from our websites very much anymore unless our website is custom built for that purpose. It really is something that somebody's going to look to affiliate with our brand to get to know us a little bit, right? So that could be a free form of marketing. Social media, right? Our public image can be a free source of marketing. We don't have to spend any money on those pieces. Generally speaking, it can be less personal and less memorable. If all you did was send postcards to a neighborhood every month, all year long, that marketing would probably not yield the same results as it would if you knocked on their door once or twice that year. Right? They're going to remember you if they have that conversation with you. Now, do both of those things, send them a postcard every month for a year, and then you show up at the door and they're like, hey, I know you, right? I get your mail, right? So they layer together. That's the biggest piece. Marketing can, however, be a more efficient use of your time and can help you reach a larger audience, right? You are not going to be able to knock on all 1,000 doors today, right? But you can send a postcard to all 1,000 people today and reach them. Creates a really big funnel though. How effective is that going to be? Okay. During the growth phase of your business, the role of marketing is to supplement your prospecting. I would also say that during a shifting market, the role of marketing is to supplement your prospecting. When we've got a strong market, and you are looking at scale to maintain your business through the models you find in the MREA, then you might become, as they mentioned in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, marketing based and prospecting enhanced, right? That switch might flip for you. But until that happens and you're in that MREA realm, you're grossing $1 million in GCI every year, then you're really going to be more prospecting based. So what are some of the benefits of marketing? Marketing gives you a reason to prospect. If I sent a postcard to everyone in my database, I could then call you and say, hey, did you get my postcard? Right? So it gives me a reason to do that. It sets you apart after prospecting, right? So if I door knocked 100 homes in this area, and then next week they got my newsletter or flyer or something branded like that, it's going to set me apart from the other guy who door knocked that one time and never followed up, right? And it helps me keep mind share. Here's what I love about marketing. Like I said, it can be before or after you generate the lead. We're gonna see, you know what? Actually, I bet the camera's still on this because that's where I put it. Let's do it over here today. Okay, looking familiar? You saw this guy yesterday, right? I'm gonna sell a home here and I'm gonna buy a home here, and this is the lowest point I'm ever interested in real estate, right? As we are climbing up this ladder and getting interested in real estate again, what does that consumer's journey look like as far as the brand that they're seeing, right? As far as the association with realtors, right? They just closed with you, so immediately you're kind of fresh in their mind as a real estate agent. But if they don't ever hear from you again, what happens? You're no longer who they think of, right? In fact, if you had to pay me, or if I had to pay you, whatever that is, right? If I had to come up with the name of the realtor who sold us our first house, I couldn't. I could not for the life of me. I don't know who it was. Okay, so who else is becoming their realtor during this journey, right? Maybe they went and visited one of those neighborhood open houses.
So there's an open house here and an open house here and an open house here and an open house here that they visited. All of those realtors are now getting some mind share. Okay. What else are you doing?
Google search new homes in Denver.
They Googled searched new homes in Denver and they probably landed at like Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin,
And
Right.
such agents immediately have their information.
all of those agents do. But then what else happened? Redfin, Zillow, they're sending them automatic messages, aren't they?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And then they clicked on one of them and Zillow said, your house is worth, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we won't buy it for that, but somebody might, right? All of that is happening the entire time, right? And then they go to the grocery store and there's that handsome young man who's on the shopping cart. And so they see them every now and again. They're inundated with all of this real estate branding, and then their sister, their mother, their cousin got their real estate license, right? So marketing helps you, when you're marketing to somebody you've already met, it helps you maintain this presence. So even through all of that noise, when it's time, they're still thinking of you, right? Okay. So there's some myths around this, right? I only need to prospect or market to be successful. I don't need to do both. I think we've already established that they work together, right? The purpose of prospecting and marketing is to get appointments. Okay, we've tackled that one too, right? It's to increase the number of people in your database. Next week, when we're looking at touch plans, and the week after that, when we're looking at how to nurture those leads, we're going to see how your database matures over time. Any marketing I do builds mind share. If I sent you a postcard here, invited you to an event here, bragged about how I just sold a home here, how much mind share do I have? Maybe, but not a lot more.
3 times more.
Yeah, not a lot more, right? You really got to stick in that consistently and strategically to build mind share. Okay, marketing your brand. There's a really fun section in here. I don't think you guys have it in your book, called Defining Your Brand. I think I pulled it out. Defining your brand walks you through, like, what do you want your brand to look like? What do you want your voice to sound like? Right? How do you want to come across to people? That is a bonus homework assignment in your material if you want it. I know, bonus homework, right? But it is in the Google Drive file if you want to do that. If you don't already have a brand and you want to walk through the exercise of creating your brand, start with the current homework assignment, which is looking at your unique selling proposition, right? Start with that. And then once you've completed that, you can roll into making your brand. Here's just a short condensed version of that. Just pick a path and run on it. Especially when you get started, you'll see like 4 or so distinct styles inside of designs. There's like the black and white one, and there's the red and white one, and there's the kind of fancy one, and then there's the kind of contemporary one. Just pick one of those styles and do everything in that style, right? And try and match it with your online post. That's all you need when you get started as a brand presence. As your business develops, you're going to develop that over time, and then you're going to market it. You're going to determine the best vehicles for marketing that, and you're going to dive deep into those. Inside of your materials, I've included a handful of these like pages so that you can look at all of the different ways and start brainstorming these things, right? So what could community involvement look like? What are some ways that people use community involvement? And so it's hard to read on the screen, but you have all of those in your handouts, right? Like what could media advertising look like if you were going to do media advertising? When might that be right for you?
And then there's another piece around mail outs. What type of mail might be really valuable, and how would I use it? What does the pricing look like on that? Use that pricing guide as just a, hey, this is more expensive and this is less expensive. You're not going to do it for what it says here. Remember, the materials themselves are pretty old. The principles are still valid, right? So just think less expensive and more expensive as things that I could do. But I want to touch on just a couple of quick pieces here for marketing. Marketing your listings. Right? Those shirts some of you got yesterday with the 3 triangles on it, which are the 3 L's: leads, listings, and leverage. They all work together. I'm betting this is page 47, so I'll bet it says 47 in your book. There we go. But marketing your listings. Having a listing is like actually having a piece of inventory for the business that you have that you can like literally like walk around with people and say, hey, do you want to buy this? I sell these. Do you want to buy one of these? I sell these. I have a garage full of them. Would you like one? Would you like one? Would you like 2? How many would you like today? Do you like this one? I have another color. You want me to bring that out? Right? Having a listing is kind of a gift from above, right? It gives you fuel for your prospecting and your marketing efforts. So just like with open houses, why do we market listings?
To have it worked out of base.
Where do buyers find the home that they buy typically? Online. And then who shows it to them? Their real estate agent, right? So if you market that listing online, are you selling that listing? Or did putting it in the MLS kind of do a little bit of that already? Right? We bring all of this marketing because it attracts people to us, right? Our sellers ask us to do all of this marketing because on the off chance that that one guy sees that one flyer in that one weird place, we want them to find the house, right? But you want to do that flyer because on the off chance that one guy sees that flyer in that one weird place, they're going to call you to buy a house, maybe not that one. Right? So that's why we market a listing. Inside of the listing presentations in designs and on Rockstar Agent and that we have for you at the front desk, you'll find a marketing plan. You can customize your own marketing plan. There are a lot of things that you could do. 2 rules of thumb when it comes to creating your marketing plan. First is do not put anything in there that you will not absolutely do. Do not tell somebody that you are going to email, fax, or voice broadcast their listing if you're not going to do those things. Like I said, 15 years ago, make sure you clean it up, right? Our current marketing materials don't say that, right? But on the off chance that yours still says you're going to fax that listing to people, don't do that. Take that out. You're not going to fax that listing to anyone, so don't say you will. And the second one is think about things from 2 different perspectives. What will not only add value to my seller, right, by giving them the visibility that their listings wants, but what will drive people to me? And every single thing that I plan on doing to drive people to me about that listing, I'm going to write it on this list because that's a benefit to the seller. If I'm going to put this online, if I'm going to put it on my website, if I'm going to have special marketing made for it, if I'm going to get these kind of photos or floor plans or virtual tours done, if I'm going to put them on these social media outlets, if I'm going to put them, you know, if I'm going to syndicate them to whatever else I'm going to syndicate them to, if I'm going to do open houses, if I'm going to door knock around the neighborhood, if I'm going to use that listing to prospect at all, if I'm going to do circle prospecting, if I'm going to send just listed, just sold, under contracts, if I'm going to send any materials out, I want to document all of those things because that is a value add to my seller. They're going to love it. right? But I want to absolutely do all of those things because they're going to be marketing that attract people to me. So when you have a listing, you want to pull out all of the stops to attract buyers to you. Everything from the marketing you do to your sign, to the way that you communicate with other agents, right? Having a listing gives you great pieces of marketing. Allows you to market for buyer business. If you don't have a listing, you get to do all of these same types of marketing with somebody else's listing, so long as you have permission to do it. You will find on our Facebook page quite commonly, people ask things like, hey, can I advertise your listing? Or hey, who has a listing I can advertise? And then 3 or 4 hands go up and you go advertise that listing. Value add to the seller. More eyeballs on their listing is a good thing. They want that, especially right now, right? Ricky, you've got one that's been on the market like a little while, right? 12 days.
12 days, 13 days.
If your seller knew that there were 10 times as many eyeballs on it, would that make him feel better or
Yes,
worse about it?
100%. So
Absolutely.
y'all go market my listing.
Do all of the things. Oftentimes when we get permission to market somebody's listing, we want to throw an ad on Facebook. We're going to do like some quick marketing on it. Go to town, do all the marketing on the listing, right? Utilize that stuff, create flyers, right? Do whatever it is you would do on your own listing, market that listing. If you don't have any listings to advertise, you can actually advertise HUD owned homes. There's not very many of them in our market, but you can absolutely do that. You're going to get some people on that. And we're going to tackle a lot more of those when we get into internet listings and all of those pieces. So large scale overview, prospecting and marketing work together, right? They're going to enhance one another. We're going to lead with prospecting. We're going to support that with marketing. We can do a lot of this with sweat equity. It's about building the big picture, right? And supplementing it with those lead generation activities. What else? What ahas did you guys get from today? This is a tough one because it's a lot of information and it's high level overview. There's not a lot of, okay, go home, do this. Right? But it's really important as we head into next week and we're getting very, very strategic and tactical on these things that you understand how these work together. Because remember, we're picking 3 of these tactics and we're building a strategy. That's the goal of this class, right? So you have to understand how they work together. Okay, homework to prepare for lead gen tomorrow. Who knows what they're doing for lead gen tomorrow? What are you doing, Ken?
Calling our past neighborhood to set up the HOA handoff meeting and validating all their information and setting them up on marketing. Reports. That's
Cool.
part of the process. I told the builder I would do that as part of our continuing follow-up, because I have to give these guys at least a year, because 90% of them had an agent that closed them. So I was the builder's agent. So to be their agent, I have to then move in after the other agents have stopped working with them and start providing service.
Is
This
there
is like-
an actual Georgia guideline
No.
around how long that is? No, it's just
0.
kind of
They're-
from your
yeah.
professional experience, after about a year, they're more
Well,
receptive.
After about a year, 95% of them have not been contacted by their agent in the
Yeah.
first year.
Yeah.
95%.
I have heard some states that have almost like a holdover period, whereas like you cannot work with this client after they've closed for X number of time. We don't have
We
one
don't
of
have that.
those.
We
The
don't have
day,
that.
you know,
It's
as
not.
soon as closing happens,
Yeah.
they're,
Well, as soon as, the buyer, if they sign up by a brokerage in Georgia, the minute that transaction closes, that brokerage relationship ends.
Yeah.
At contract
at
closing.
closing ours too.
So we're
Yeah.
fine. But like I give away Cutco knives to all my customers if they're not represented, but it's really kind of awkward to give someone a branded with my phone number, knife on it at closing when their agent's sitting there. So I wait and give that as a Christmas gift. Later. Yeah,
Sneaky. I love that.
is what it is. I
I
bought the
love that.
knife. I gotta give them away to somebody.
All right. Cool. Gabby, are you door knocking tomorrow? Yes. $100 swag on the line, right?
Door knocking work. Go to like the Pinery for the open house on Saturday.
Pick a strategy and run with it.
Yeah.
Whichever one you're doing. Are you driving towards the open house or are you doing shredder event? You can't ride two horses. So go pour all into one of those. Doesn't matter which one. Go meet people, have real estate conversations. Doesn't matter how you do it. What are you guys doing?
Circle prospect,
What's your target?
my neighborhood.
What's your script?
Would you be interested in a cash offer today?
Yeah, you're on masterminds too, huh? I got that written down right here. Yep. Hey, if I brought you a cash offer, would you be interested in selling? Heck yeah. Gold right there.
Mofer.
Mofer, yes. The word of the year, mofers.
My mofer for the call today, when I asked him, I basically said, what did I tell him? I said, you know, I'm still working with this builder, right? It's like, yeah, because he bought in 2019, so it's right at 3 years. I said, right now I'm selling your house for 300,000 more than you bought it for. He goes, if you can give me 300 for mine, I'll sell right now. I'm like, don't say it if you don't mean it, because I'll have it sold by Friday, by tomorrow. And he goes, no, I'm serious. We need to talk. And I'm like, boom, done.
There you
So
go.
those kinds of little informational things, just give them
Mhm.
something of value. And if they're thinking about it, they'll tell you they're thinking about it.
Yeah, love it. Okay, what else?
Either tomorrow or Saturday, I'm going around my neighborhood with, our neighborhood doesn't have a neighborhood Facebook group yet, so I've created one. So I'm going around and handing out flyers.
Nice.
Yeah,
So people can join.
great.
I didn't know that was a thing still, a neighborhood that doesn't have a
I
Facebook.
know.
No,
I was
yeah.
like, well, I know, I'm like, hopefully they don't. No, I've looked, we don't have one, but I'm like, how do you guys, if you're low on sugar, like, how do you, I mean, you know.
How do you do it? You can't go to next door because then people will
Right.
yell at you. Wow, come you don't buy enough sugar? Where'd you waste your sugar at? You're not pouring it down the drain. That's gonna eat my drain pipe.
Sugar.
I know.
Jeez.
Yeah,
It's
so
all your sugar.
Yeah.
that's my plan.
Yeah, oh,
Whether
I
it's
like that. I like that. Okay, so hey, after lead gen tomorrow, hit the little box on the thing. It will turn it green. Leave a note. That way we can all see it. We've been playing around with it, and unless you leave a note or post a picture, we can't actually see it. We can only see green or not green. So put a note in there, post a picture, have some fun with it. Let's see if we can figure out how this app works, right? It'll be good stuff. If you're in the market center lead genning tomorrow, we're gonna, we're gonna do some things. We're gonna do follow-up Friday. If you're not in the market center lead genning tomorrow, then, game on, go have fun.
So I have a
Yeah.
question. Is I'm on Nextdoor, Covington, where I'm from. So is Nextdoor like the vigilante police blotter here, like it is in my place?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
curious. It just turned into something that wasn't.
Oh, yeah, it's like super toxic, angry people.
Yeah.
That's
A
all,
lot
yeah.
of complainers.
Yes, and then all of the other, all of the vendors who got it early when you still could, spamming their stuff. Yeah.
It's a good place to stay in touch with, so that you know who the neighborhood, where the grumpy people are.
Oh, yeah, you can
Yeah.
definitely find them.
Yeah, and you can find Nancy Nosy Neighbor,
Yeah.
which every realtor needs to know. I got lucky, my new neighbor, because it's in February.
Yeah.
Nancy knows, on the Indian fourplex. Nancy Nosy Neighbor is the one you connected to. So I talked to her every couple of days. And she
Knows everything.
She knows all of it.
There you go.
All right,
I love
thanks
it.
for sticking around, everybody at home.
Thank you.
We
Thanks for
are,
not putting my eye out with that pen.
here we
It was
go.
not from lack of effort.
All right, have fun lead genning tomorrow. A meetups.com is still a thing. Thank you, Adrian. She's so funny.
I was impressed not just with the accuracy, but the velocity that's right.
All right. It's the most important.
Yeah.
Hey, Anna, do you
All
know,
right.
and maybe I need to ask Amy, but where's a good, do you guys have a printer that you recommend? Like,
Like a professional print
Yeah.
shop.
yeah,
Yeah, Amy's got some good resources. We have some relationships with title companies that give us some discounted stuff.
oh,
and
okay,
all of those things too.
okay,
So,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
absolutely.
Pardon?
All right. Hey, and she can't hear me yet.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that.